to the very first episode. Hi, welcome back to a first episode of something. Oh, he's a comedian, is he? I don't know if anybody's ever watched the show Fear the Walking Dead, just because after what happened in The Walking Dead and the bat wrapped in, what do they call it, barbed wire, you know, things kind of got a little less fun. Then Dave Chappelle wore a leather jacket and made everybody laugh on Saturday Night Live, and I thought that was cute, you know? But now, I find myself stuck in the house after being infected with whatever the hell new zombie outbreak is out there, right? And as I'm trying to recuperate from this and become semi-immune, like some of our characters end up becoming in Fear the Walking Dead, that's right. And I'm giving you a little tidbit of information here. Oh goodness gracious! But how does that happen? Did it really happen? Was it in a dream sequence? I don't know. You're gonna have to watch the rest of the show. You don't actually have to watch the entire show though to get some of the idea of what the show's about. You can watch it right here. We're going to be reviewing each season, and I'll be actively doing that all the way up to season 8, and then we're going to be checking out the new shows, the offshoots of The Walking Dead, and it'll probably end, this particular sequence that we're doing, will probably end towards the end of the year with a redux of The Walking Dead. We're going to rewatch the whole first the season, the first show, whatever you want to call it, and all those seasons that lead up to Fear the Walking Dead. It's been too long, and actually I never really completely finished it. They had the alpha and beta characters when they came out. I'm not going to discuss anything more about them yet. I don't want to give any spoilers away. I'm just playing around with all the stuff I've said before. But the whole idea was to basically just keep myself involved with the whole Halloween October theme, and I really like The Walking Dead up until that whole leather jacket baseball bat stuff. And then things kind of got a little bit shifty, kind of got in and out, and then there were new shows that were coming up, and once you get past a half a decade to a decade of seasons of shows, it kind of gets a little bit redundant. You know, that's why I like to give shows some time in between, especially when they're shows like that. I mean, we're talking, I want to say it's like 10 hours to 8 to 16 hours of episodes per season. And you're talking about over 24 seasons of shows. I mean, this is almost as bad as South Park, for the love of God. At least South Park's only a half an hour long, though. But most of this is actually filled with not only things that interest me in the line of Halloween, zombies, and all these cool things. You know, it also has to do a lot with the camera work. I've been studying a lot about the production process that has to do with creating these shows. And even the talk shows, like something that we're doing here, although I don't think we'll have much interviews about this. It would be cool if we did, but this is kind of out of the zeitgeist for the moment, where most people aren't really talking about it. I would like to change that, but YouTube's very odd with this particular topic and this particular show. There is and was a lot of content created, but a lot of it's been buried. That had to do with reviewing the show and talking about some of the topics. I think that was probably intentional, because of all of the new shows that they came out with. They didn't want people like getting too much information and then ruining it for themselves, which with one of the characters I ended up doing. It was something huge that happened in, I want to say it was like the 10th season or something. And it was The Walking Dead, and Fear the Walking Dead. And I was watching something about it on YouTube that somebody was discussing, and all of a sudden I'm like, no, I just ruined the character for myself, and the character development and all that. But, I mean, from the lighting, the camera work, the camera choices, the camera people, the set locations, the acting, obviously, the directing, the relation, that these are actually comic books. I mean, not really comic books per se, but they call them graphic novels. And they were made to be TV fit episodes. There were even some web-based episodes that were a couple mini-series that were released. I really enjoyed those. But with the things like the Daryl Dixon, and I think something like the Wide World or something like that. I don't know what the hell the names are exactly yet, but we'll be dropping all that in the comments below in the next weeks to follow. I forgot the changing specials for the... Alright, cut this, add this to the last video that we did, New holiday specials will be available for the photography and videography that we do every single week from all of CYOCKTOBER all the way through to December for our holiday specials. You'll be getting something different every single week, and make sure to subscribe in order to get that information in your damn, I'm really fucking struggling here. New holiday specials are the usual multimedia holiday specials for October, November, and December will be released each and every week for all of our different media content creation, from photography, videography, commercial deals, and more. Make sure to comment or DM for details. And back to the Walking Dead. So we're going to be probably changing the name of this particular segment, but we're calling this the Fear the Talking Head for now, and we're hoping that this will be something just to kind of keep me busy, and keep me enjoying something that has to do with something that's tied into the apocalypse, but not the real world apocalypse, because that shit's really getting boring. The very first season of Fear the Walking Dead actually takes place, I believe it's 2 weeks, if we're trying to be specific. It starts 2 weeks prior to the episode in The Walking Dead that first starts with Rick Grimes when he wakes up in the hospital. So I believe they probably start around the same exact time, because the beginning of The Walking Dead starts off with Rick and his partner Shane arresting somebody for something, and it was just a standard issue occurrence. But then, of course, things fall apart. And Fear the Walking Dead starts off in a similar fashion, except it's on the other side of the country, whereas The Walking Dead was in Atlanta. This takes place in Los Angeles, which I personally, right off the bat, was very excited about, because you're not only going to be dealing with different types of people, different attitudes and demographics, and maybe even different effects of the zombie virus itself, because the way viruses change from region to region. There's actually the effect the weather has on the bodies of the walkers was something that they actually included in most of the episodes of the show Fear the Walking Dead, at least for the first few seasons. Then you kind of get a little bit of a generalistic look, because the time frame, as they go, the bodies tend to kind of age similarly. But then you get really special events like, for instance, there's a nuclear power plant, and some of these zombies end up getting near it, and when they absorb that radiation, they end up looking a little different. Sometimes there's homages to old zombie-type shows and stuff, and Romero's really good for that. Greg Romero, right? I believe that's the name. But personally, the first season of Fear the Walking Dead was, I think they had to try harder to get people to be intrigued by the fact that they were almost kind of redoing what Walking Dead did, but just in a different place with different people. And it kind of got a little bit like, I don't know if it was trouble with acting or trouble with directing, writing, or maybe it was just the subject matter itself, the way it was initially created, and then they tried to change it over. It didn't seem different enough to spark interest with me, so I didn't watch it right away. But I'm kind of glad that I didn't, because once you break past that first half of that first season, you're almost in a brand new territory. Product-wise, I thought it was more interesting than what it could have been to have another continuation or even a prequel. However, I don't know if they've made a prequel yet leading up to the how the virus was created and all that stuff. I don't think they have, but that would be really interesting to see. And of course, there's still that possibility that could happen. So we have I have a character synopsis that I'm working up for the next coming days. We're going to be talking about this every day leading up to Halloween, and then I'm going to change over to one of the newer shows for The Walking Dead in order to talk about that and review it. And I'll say this. The girl sweater on the Terminator kid was a little bit much. It was a little bit much for me to be like, oh, okay, this commercial is really going to intrigue anybody. in my mind, pushed some of their fan base away. Maybe I'm wrong. Maybe they saw that and they were like, oh my god, how'd they get this girl sweater on this kid? You know, and he's not a kid anymore. He's a full-grown man. You know, I don't know if he takes credit for all the shit that he did to the show in the the 4th season. If he's a real man, you know, we'll see if he does. I don't know. I haven't looked into it yet, but a lot of interesting things happen in real world and in the story world all the way leading up to the 4th season, of course. But once the 4th season hits, you're really going to see writers have to work incredibly hard to keep a show together, and it's not the best, but it's one of the most impressive efforts I've ever seen. And it worked. I mean, they still managed to keep all the funding to do all the things that they did, and they're still going. So I can't complain. Plenty of people do, though. So, you know, I don't blame them either. The quality took a hit. There was definitely a lot of strange things that happened. But, of course, from that spouts more creativity, where there may not have been enough at the time to keep the show going as long as it has now. So, there are location changes constantly as well in the new in the Fear the Walking Dead show. Not just per season, but every couple episodes you end up seeing something new, something different, something cool. The music, whoever does the majority of the composition and the production for the music, they are incredible, absolutely incredible. Because not only do they get major songs, but they also get these artists creating some of this music that is perfectly tailored to every single episode. It's amazing. And they've done this steadily for years, so I'm really impressed by that. I think you will be too, if you end up checking it out. And I'm not just arbitrarily talking about these shows either. I really would enjoy that if anybody's watching this right now, to discuss this, or anything that we discussed in the comments below. I openly foster that. I'd really like to see what people think. And that especially is going to be true for after Halloween, once we get into the new shows, because the new shows, I have not seen anything about any of it. So it's going to be totally new to me. We're going to be watching it live, a lot of it, and then you'll be able to discuss and talk with me and others about what's happening in the show as it happens, which I think will be really fun. So we're going to make this episode a little bit shorter. This is an intro into what it is we're going to be doing. And like I said, we'll do the character synopsis tomorrow of the Fear the Walking Dead characters, at least for the first season. And we'll discuss not only what happens in the first season, the entirety of the first season. I'll do one spoiler-free and one spoiler-full. See if we can differentiate. I don't know if we really can at this point, but we'll try. And we'll discuss a little bit about what happens in the second season, and then the very next day, so day after tomorrow, we'll get into season 2. And that's how we'll make sure to finish off that show in time for Fucksgiving, which will officially start November 1st. Make sure to share, like, and comment. The more we grow, the more we show, the more you view, the more we do. Happy that we're able to finally be here for a CYOCKTOBER special. That means something. And even if it doesn't get out digitally, even though I know some people are actively hitting that share button and subscribing, and for some, what seems, I can't keep explaining it, but for people that are sharing the stuff and it's not getting out anywhere, nobody that you know seems to be seeing it, that's called a shadow ban. Do not feel bad. We will actively be out in the real world soon in order to be able to spread the brand and get the shows watched by people and all these other different things. And even if the shows and everything, all the digital stuff gets canceled, I will still be out there live entertaining people and doing different things for the podcast, for my multimedia brand. And maybe we'll change things along the way and we'll become a different sort of business if that's what we have to do. But that being said, try to have a fun October if this isn't your sort of thing. And you can check out all of our other content that we talked about before on all of our other major apps, or our website, which will be re-released on Sunday. And have a fun Halloween. And we'll see you in a little bit.